Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Spiritual Growth Journeys. I'm Kimberly Palm. And last week we talked on this channel about alchemizing fear. If you haven't had a chance to watch that video, please go back and watch it. This afternoon, I asked Yeshua what he wanted me to cover on this video. And he asked me to cover basically answering whether or not you are on the right track, you're headed in the right direction, you're doing the right thing when it comes to your spiritual growth, your ascension, your enlightenment. And also, we're going to talk about that in reference to your personal life. Like, are you on the right track with your relationships? Are you on the right track with your career? Are you on the right track with your finances? Are you on the right track with your education? Are you on the right track with what else? Relationships, any of those types of things, career, relationships, finances, education, personal life in general, whether or not you're on the right track. So first, I want to mention that this video may come out with me looking really grainy and weird. And the reason for that is because my really fancy camera that I usually use is glitching out today for some reason. I don't know why. I think we're still in a Mercury retrograde or something. And that dominates over equipment, like electronic devices and all that. It makes electronics break down. And so that might be the reason why it was glitching out, or it might be another reason, but I'm using my crappy computer camera and it's not a very good camera, so I may look kind of weird and grainy to you all. So I just wanted to let you know about that. I apologize. There's not much I can do about this. I'm not a technical guru by any choice. I suck at electronic devices, period, and it's not my thing. I'm willing to admit that it's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't know how to deal with it. So anyone who has an issue with whether or not my camera is the way you expect it, see ya. Wouldn't want to be a can't help you there. So I asked Yeshua what he wanted me to cover on this channel today. And the big topic was something you all write to me about all the time. A lot of you sign up for appointments for this topic. You all want to know, am I on track? Am I on track for ascension? Am I going to be ascending? Where am I? Am I at the right place? Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right choices? Am I going to ascend? All of that. So let's talk about that. We'll talk about the spiritual and the ascension aspects of it. And first of all, for those of you who have come on my channel and you don't have a copy of my book Ascension 101, that book is the most important book that actually everyone on earth needs a copy. And I'm not saying that because I want to make millions of dollars, because I actually don't make much money on that book at all. Number one. Number two, the reason it needs to go out is because Yeshua wants that thing out all over the earth, because it has 70% of it was his information, not from me. It was from him, channeled to help humanity with their ascension. And so anybody who's newly awake, and even if you've been awake actually for a long time, I've had people who are psychics and healers and spiritual teachers and gurus read the book and learn new things from it. Because of the fact that it's channeled from Yeshua, it's not just from information off the internet or something like that. In fact, none of that information came from the internet. That information all came from either my knowledge, years of studying and learning and practicing, and then 70% of it came from Yeshua. And so that book is really crucial for people for ascension, because it's got a lot of help and information in it to help you on your journey. So if you know people who are awake, it makes a great Christmas gift. Really good Christmas. Actually, all three of my books. If you go to my website, spiritualgrowthjourneys.com, you go to the books page, I've got all three of my books on there. Two of them are on Amazon, and that's these two in the picture. The Real Fountain of Youth, which is kind of a body, mind, spirit healing program to heal your whole body, mind, spirit. And then the Ascension 101, which is my ascension book. And then my book about it's a full disclosure book on the truth about the Bible, the truth about biblical history, the truth about the history of Yeshua. It's a whole expose and declass on all that, with information that I got from my own past lifetime with him, from my memories, from remembering that past life. And then the rest of it came from him, and Miriam. They filled in the rest of the blanks for me, mainly him, because the info about Miriam, I already knew. The info about him, I did not know all of it, because anything that was before the age of 18, I had to ask him about that, because when I met him in that lifetime, he was 18 years old. And so I know his history from that point forward, but anything prior to that, I did not know. And no, I am not Miriam of Magdala. I could never walk in her shoes. She's pretty gorgeous and amazing and just an incredible human being, or not, she's not a human, she's actually a celestial being, an angelic being, but she's pretty incredible. So no, I'm not her. But and anybody who on these YouTube channels, just so you know, anyone who says that they are actually her, they're lying. She's not on the earth. She has no reason to be in a body, but there's a lot of these women who are crazy pants out there who are saying that they are actually her, and that is not true. Now, there are 30 priestesses total on planet Earth that there are 30 priestesses on planet Earth who are reincarnated into human forms right now, that were her original trained 30 priestesses. I am one of those. I'm one of the people that she trained 2000 years ago, which is how I knew her. And so there's 29 others besides myself. And we all carry a fractal of her, which is, I call it like a telecommunication like device, where it allows us to be connected to her at all times and to download information from her and communicate with her easily and talk to her. And we also are carrying her frequency, and we're radiating her frequency. We're like little radio beacons, radiating out her frequency, what we call the Magdalene or the Sisterhood of the Rose frequency, to this earth, to Mother Gaia, and to the humans and animals. So there's that. But anyways, those books, all three of the books are on my website. They make great Christmas gifts. They're very inexpensive. They're all like around $20 or less. So they make a great gift for people. The one about Yeshua is not available in a hard print version, because of the fact that if I have it printed, it's going to have to be made public to the world. And I can't do that yet at this time, because it's too darn controversial. It could get me into lots of trouble, very dangerous trouble, actually, if I were to publish it out into the public. And so I can only do it as a PDF that you can download onto your phone or your computer. You can put it on a USB stick like I did. I printed out a copy for myself of my own book, so I'd have a hard copy, and I just took it to a local print shop and printed it up. And then they spiral bound it for me. And that's what you can do with it. But I can't put it into print until all of the bad guys are swept off of the earth. Once they're all taken out, then I can do a lot of things. Like I can reveal who and what I really am, which I have not told any of the public about at this time, who and what I really am. And I'm not able to share that information yet. So, let's see, what else do I want to say before I get started? I think that's about it. Make sure that you go back and watch that video on alchemizing fear, the last one I did, to help you with that. And so first of all, I want to talk about the question of, are you on track? And it's funny because last night, are you on the right track? Let's just say last night, my family and I played a game. My son brought it over to the house. It's a new game. I think it's called Trolley or something like that. Something about a trolley. But basically, it has to do with, there's two trolley tracks, and you need to decide which one you're going to run over. You're going to run over people or things on one of the tracks or something like that. kind of a dark humor game. Actually, it's a really funny game. We laughed a lot, but it's what we call dark humor because it's not very pleasant, positive kind of thing. So because you're running people over, like I got to run over the Illuminati last night. My son drew the Illuminati card and he put it down in his pile, and that made me get to choose to run over his track because I told my family I want to run over the Illuminati. So that was kind of funny. Um, but anyways, that got me thinking also about what Yeshua said. I thought it was funny because Yeshua said, I want you to talk about the concept of, am I on the right track? And if you aren't on the right track on that game, then you get run over. Everything on there gets run over and by a trolley. And so it's just kind of an interesting game, and it's an interesting idea of, if you're not on the right track, you're going to get run over. So think about that. If you're not on track, you might get run over. So it's really important for you to be on track. But here's the cool thing about this. Just the fact that you are asking, if you are asking yourself, am I on the right track? The people who are asking that question are most likely on the right track. Because what I find out are the people who don't ask if they're on the right track, or they don't care if they're on the right track. A lot of them are not on the right track. Now, there are people like myself who are sensitive and psychic and intuitive, where we know if we're on the right track. You can, or, you learn the techniques I'm going to teach you today. And then you're going to know if you're on the right track. But the people who don't have those techniques, so let's say it's just Joe Schmo, your neighbor, who isn't into spirituality, doesn't know anything, isn't a good decision maker, and they don't care if they're on the right track for ascension, they're not on the right track because they're not doing what they need to be doing to ascend in the first place. So I want you all to stop, take a big deep breath in through your nose, through your mouth, and then give yourself a pat on the back for asking the question, am I on the right track? Because if you're asking that, then you probably won a lot of the battle. You are most likely on track. But it's not as simple as that, because if it was, I would say end of video and we'd move on to the next video. There'd be another video. So let's talk about, are you on track? Okay. So first of all, I've talked about this in multiple videos before, that the main thing about ascension is you just need to be a loving, nice person. That it's really that simple. If you're asking the question, am I going to ascend? A lot of you ask that question. Am I going to ascend, Kimberly? If you're even following my videos and you're on my channel and you're my client, or you've attended my classes or worked with me or my women's retreats or something, or read my books, I can guarantee you're ascending, because the people who are not ascending don't care about ascension. They don't care about any of this. Okay, so are you ascending? All you need to do is be a loving, nice person. Okay, you need to be mostly service to others, not service to self, because service to self, actually, I'm going to take off my coat here because I'm getting kind of warm and overheated. Service to self people. It's so cold in my basement here. My office is in my basement and it is cold. It is so cold here. And the weather is really cold where I live, up in the Alaskan tundra. Not really. I'm not in Alaska, but it feels like it. Okay. Better. Got really hot there. If you are a nice person and you're mostly loving, mostly compassionate and kind and nice to other people, you're ascending. What are you ascending to? Well, first you will go to 4D and then you will go to 5D. But honestly, the people who follow me are for the most part already in 4D 100%. Some of you are into 5D already. You're already there. And when I do private sessions with people, I scan your energy and I can actually tell you how far into 4 and 5D you are, what percent crystalline you are, where your DNA is activated to. So I can tell you if you're on track with all of that by scanning you. Now, you can do it for yourself if you want to take my pendulum class, which is very inexpensive. It's on my website. If you go to spiritualgrowthjourneys.com and go through the classes page, I have a pendulum class. If you learn how to do divination with pendulum, you can get a pendulum chart and you can ask the question, where's my DNA activated to? Where's my crystalline body activated? What percent crystalline am I? And then you move your pendulum around that chart and you can get answers to the questions if you don't have your psychic abilities online, your third eye open and online yet. So that's one way you can decide or figure out, are you on track as far as that kind of thing goes. Otherwise, I scan people and I tell them that information, but you should be able to tell yourself if you follow the instructions, because first of all, in the pendulum class that I offer, you learn the right kind of pendulum to buy, because there's a lot of bad pendulums out there that you don't want to buy. Okay. So I talk about what kind to buy. So you don't want to buy one before you take the class. If you already have one, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You learn how to buy one, how to clear it, how to program it, what questions to ask, how to ask them, when to use it, when to not use it. There are actually times you should never use your pendulum. Okay. Like one of them is when you're sick. When you're really sick and you don't feel well, that's going to interfere with using a pendulum or doing any divination or any psychic work. I had to actually cancel all my clients this last week because I injured my back, and then I had my knee injury already, and then all my arthritis all over my body flared up from the cyclone bomb that we have on the West Coast here. So my whole body was in pain, and I actually had to cancel all my client sessions because I can't do divination or psychic stuff when I'm in pain. I can't answer people's psychic questions. So, if you take that pendulum class, you're going to be able to answer a lot of these questions about, am I on track and that kind of thing. But I'm going to give you some more help here in this video. So in order to just ascend at all, you need to be a loving, compassionate, nice person. The people who are not going to ascend. They're going to go to another third density planet. It's curtains for them, okay? Because they've been given chance after chance to be nice, kind, loving people, and they've made a conscious free will choice to be assholes. The people who have made the conscious free will choice to be rapers, murderers, killers, pedophiles, narcissists, and just mean people, just people who are angry all the time, people who are mean all the time, fear-based people, these people who are totally brainwashed by religion and stuck in it and can't get out of it. Some of those people will be ascending. The ones who are loving, what I found is you've got two types of Christians and Muslims and Jews. You've got the ones who are really nice, loving people that are very religious, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong about them being religious. They're loving, nice people, and that's fine. They were brainwashed by the cabal to worship whatever religion it is that they're worshiping, and that's fine. That's all part of prison planet Matrix Earth. So that will all be changing. There will not be religions in the next 10 years. They will all go away within the next 10 years. Bye-bye religions, no more religions. They were never supposed to be on this planet. Now you've got your group of your Christians, Muslims, and Jews that are not nice people. Like, we've talked about this before, that there's with the like people hating on Jews, you've got what are called the Khazarians, which are evil. And then you've got your nice, hardworking, regular Jewish people who worship God and are family people and very loving and very kind and very nice people. It's the same thing with Christians. You've got these hater Christians who judge everyone. They're totally hypocritical. They're rude. They're mean. They're nasty. You got even people who are Christians who cheat on their spouses, or they do drugs, or they're pedos. So many pedophiles in these religions. It's ridiculous. And the same with Islam. They say, oh, it's a religion of peace. Well, I know some very peaceful, kind, nice Muslims, but I've also met Muslims who are radical, who thought I should die because I'm an infidel and I don't practice Islam. So that makes me not qualified to live on earth according to them. Those kind of people will not be staying here. Okay. So if you want to know, are they on track for ascension? The answer is absolutely not. Anyone who is judging others, hating on others, mean, nasty, narcissistic, murdering, raping, killing, pillaging, pedophiling, all of that, molesting, traumatizing others, whatever. Those people are not on track, will never be on track, and they're out of here very soon. They won't, their days are numbered right now. Now, are you on track with enlightenment and ascension on your own? Well, I've told you all before that each person's ascension is a unique individual thing. We all ascend in different time and space. We're not all doing it at the same time. Everyone in my family has a different timing. All of my neighbors have a different timing for when and how we ascend. And this is not a race and it's not a competition and there's not a deadline because your soul goes on forever. So the important thing to know is that you just need to be you. You just need to breathe. You need to chill out. You need to live your life every day. You need to just be. And you need to stop worrying about, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. Because that will actually block your ascension. It's more about just being, just breathing, just being in what we call the present moment. The best way that you can be on track for spiritual growth and ascension is learning how to practice present moment awareness or mindfulness. Now, I'm a certified mindfulness and meditation instructor. And if you want to have a private session with me to learn how to practice mindfulness, you can do that. There's also a class on my website, Spiritual Growth Journeys, for meditation. I think it's called Meditation Basics or Meditation 101 or something. That is mindfulness meditation, and you can actually practice mindfulness all throughout the day. And if you want to learn how to do that kind of thing, you can definitely sign up for a session with me. But the important thing is you need to be constantly present and in the moment and connecting to your own divine guidance, your inner Holy Spirit, your own divinity, and you need to connect with the divine spirit that created your Holy Spirit, which we call the Great Spirit, the Prime Creator, Mother, Father, Abun, God, whatever it is, Allah, whatever it is you want to refer to it, Adonai, Hashem. There's so many names for the Creator. I like to call it Mother, Father, Prime Creator, or Mother, Father, Abun, which is what Yeshua liked to call it, Mother, Father, Abun. So um, connecting with that energy, which is the energy of unconditional love, connecting with that energy every day is like one of the most important things that you can do to be on track. Okay. The next thing you can do to be on track is just sitting and meditating every day, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Honestly, if you could do an hour a day, it would be really great because you're going to accomplish a lot. If you have questions to ask, you can ask your questions of your spirit guides and angels, shut your mouth, and then meditate for an hour and listen to what you see. But you might get visions, you might get symbols, you might get signs. That is going to put you on track, on the right track, sitting every day in silence, quieting your mind. The quieter you get your mind day after day after day, the more silence you create in your day, the more you're going to hear the divine and start getting the answers that you seek. And that is really what being on track is really about, is getting the answers you seek. And so one way of knowing, am I on track? Okay, well, do you feel happy? Do you feel blissed out? Do you feel energized? Are you having psychic kind of experiences like intuition, seeing numbers frequently, deja vus, out of body experiences, telepathy, reading people's minds, those are kind of things that you will help you decide, am I on track? Because those things are going to keep developing more and more and more and more. The more on track you are, the more you're going down the right path. When you're headed towards 5D, it's all about happiness, joy, bliss, And all of the psychic stuff, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairsmelliance, you can smell your mom's perfume that she wore before she died, that kind of thing. Maybe you can start seeing your mom who passed and connect with her. Those are all telling you that you're on track. When you start having psychic experiences, you're 100% on track. When you're quieting your mind every day, you're on track. When you're praying and meditating every day, you're on track. When you're being a nice person, kind, loving, compassionate, good person, you're on track. Let's see what else. Having the deja vus, having just weird supernatural things happen to you, because 5D is very supernatural. So the more you have supernatural things happen, the more you're into the 5D. So that will tell you that you are on track. And that is how you know you're on track. As far as like physically being on track, like your physical body, I'm talking about like the spiritual aspect of you. So the spiritual aspect, you don't need to come to me and have a session. You listen to this video, this gives you the answer. If you want to know physically, are you on track? Unless you can use the pendulum and get the answers to that question, which I told you, anybody can do this. Anybody can get these answers using a pendulum. Then you may want to have a session with me, or maybe you're somebody you don't have time to take a pendulum class or to sit and do a pendulum. You just want to get the answers right now. You're impatient, whatever. It's like, Kimberly, I want these answers now, yesterday, now. Then you want to do a session to find that out. If you don't have the patience to learn and figure it out on your own. So, but trying to think what else I can tell you that lets you know you're on track. So basically connecting every day, meditating, quieting your mind, having these what I call supernatural experiences, metaphysical experiences, starting to see things. Maybe you're seeing fairies, maybe you're seeing elves, maybe you're seeing unicorns. I don't know. Maybe you're connecting with ETs, or you're seeing ships show up over your house, that kind of thing. They will show up for the people who are on track, on the ascension track, because they don't show up to people. I noticed all of the people who I know who are completely asleep and fear-based, they never ever see ships. All of the people who I know who see them are people usually who are in that love frequency. And that is because what we call the high level extraterrestrials, like your what are they called? Like your Pleiadians, your Andromedans, Arcturians, Lyrans, all those guys, they only will show up, and their ships will only show to people who are in that low frequency. If you're not in that frequency, you're never going to see them. I can stand outside and look up at the night sky and see 30 or 40 of them, and I'll have a family member standing next to me and say, "Do you see those?" And they're like, "What are you talking about? I don't see anything." They're not going to see anything because their heart is closed. When your heart is chakra is completely closed off, you don't get to have these divine or supernatural experiences. The people who have the divine experiences, or the cosmic experiences, supernatural experiences, are people who are, again, like in a loving, they're loving, their heart chakra is open. Those are the people who have those experiences. And and they're not fear-based, they're open-minded to all of the possibilities in the universe. Because if you're somebody who's full of fear, just fear all the time, you're not going to see them either. So it's really, really important that you control all that. So that is how you tell, am I on track for my ascension? Am I on track? I'm going to ask you, well, how many of these experiences are you having? And how often are you meditating? And are you quieting your mind? And are you talking to God, having a conversation with God every day, or praying, or whatever? Then you're on track. I don't need to tell you. I don't need to, figure that out for you. You can figure it out on your own. Now, again, with the physical, like I said, the DNA, the crystalline, are you into 4D or 5D? you can do that with pendulum, or you can come to me and I can scan you and I can give you those answers. That's something I can do. So now let's move on to, am I on the right track with my relationship? So let's say you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or somebody you're dating, or a family member in general. Maybe they're a sister, maybe they're a brother, um, whoever, a husband, a wife, and you want to know, are you on the right track with that person? Are you doing the right thing? Are you making the right decision to be with that person? I have a friend slash client recently who moved in with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend is not a very nice guy. And I think she's having a lot of issues. So then she's asking questions like, did I make the wrong decision? Should I move out of here? What should I do? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So if you're somebody and you're in a relationship with somebody, you're living with them or they're your partner or whatever, and you want to know if you should be with them or stay with them or you're on the right track, here's what you need to do. You need to ask yourself. You need to, first of all, fully love and respect yourself, because if you don't love your own self and respect yourself unconditionally, and you don't have good boundaries and put on your big girl or big boy pants and be really strong, then you're not going to be able to figure this out. You need to be loving and kind to yourself, excuse me, and you need to have a lot of respect for yourself. You can't have really low self-esteem and be somebody who allows everyone to railroad them and walk all over them and treat them like shit. Because I can guarantee you, if you are that person, and I'm not condemning you or judging you, because I was that person, that was me. I used to be that way. And then when I hit 40 and both my parents died, something snapped inside of me, and I decided I'm not going to take people's shit ever again. And I changed and I started to get stronger and stronger, but I had horribly low self-esteem until about the age of 40. And so if you are one of those people, I'm not judging you. I'm trying to help you. I'm here to actually help you with that. And if you need a private session, I'm here to help you. If you're somebody who needs to grow your self-esteem, you need to improve yourself, you need to get strong and badass, become a badass warrior, I'm here to teach you and encourage you and support you through that. But in order to answer the question, should I be in this relationship, or is this relationship on the right track? Am I on the right track with this person? The answer to that question is going to be based on how much you love yourself. So if you say, yeah, Kimberly, I already love and respect myself, and I'm a pretty strong, badass kind of person, great. Then what I'm going to say to you is, are you happy in your relationship? And if the answer is no, then the next step is you need to ask why. What is it going to take to make yourself happy in that relationship? Then you need to sit down with that person or partner and you need to tell them, this is what I need in my relationship. And I mean, in our relationship to be happy, this is what I need. And then you have them tell you, what do they need? Okay. Because it's not a one-way street. You're hopefully not a narcissist. So you're not going to say, this is what I need, and then I don't care what you need. You say, this is what I need in order to be happy, and then they say what they need, and then you come to a consensus on that, and then that person starts to hopefully start meeting those needs and you start meeting theirs, because if they don't meet any of those needs once you lay them down, then they're not the right person for you. They have to be willing to put some effort in. All relationships take successful relationships take very hard work. And I'm able to talk about this because I've been in my relationship for 39 years. Okay. My husband and I have been together, this dude that's in my life. We've been together 39 years. So I can sit here and say, this is what it takes to make 39 years of a relationship happen and not want to run away and or kill the person or something. You need to basically, the reason why marriages get divorced or why people split up and why people cheat, the number one reason for cheating on a spouse is because their needs are not getting met. So like a lot of these guys that cheat on their wives, the wives are not giving them the sex that they need or whatever it is they need, or making the man, feel good or whatever. Now, there are cases where people are cheaters just because they're just cheaters. They're just nasty, narcissistic, people, or maybe they're sex addicts or perverts, or they're douchebags, or they're stupid and they get easily seduced, or they went and got drugged up or drunk and somebody seduced them, whatever. Those kind of things happen. But majority of people, out there are going to be somebody who, if you sit down and you have a conversation with them and you say, this is what I need to be happy in this relationship, they're going to be willing to do that for you. And that is what's going to determine if you're going to stay in that relationship, is when your needs are getting met. If none of your needs are getting met, then it's totally the wrong relationship for you. If you're not happy, if you're miserable all the time, none of your needs are getting met, you need to get out. But you have to give the person a chance first. You can't just say, okay, well, my needs aren't being met, so should I bail? My answer is going to be, did you go to that person and tell them, I'm unhappy, I need this, this, and this in order to be happy. And if you do this, and then I want to know, what do you need to be happy? Because I want to reciprocate. And you work on it together. Until you've done that, you can't just bail on them. You have to give them a chance. You got to give everybody a fair fighting chance. But let's say that you do that. Let's say you go to somebody and you say, sorry, I've got something that's like tickling my lip. Let's say you go to somebody and you say, my needs aren't being met, and I'm not happy, and they're not willing to meet your needs, or they tell you to F off. They're like, screw you, I'm not going to meet your needs. Or they go about their merry way and they don't try to meet your needs. Like everything is business as usual. You say, here's what I need, da 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 da, and they say, okay, I will do that. Life goes on, and here you are months later, they haven't done any of it. Then you probably need to consider bailing. You probably need to consider it. So how you're on track with the relationship is, are you both happy in that relationship? And if the answer is no, then what do you need to do to fix it? You probably need to sit down and have a conversation and talk. The other reason why my relationship has been around 39 years is because we are both very verbal. We have strong throat chakras and we speak what's on our mind. If my husband's pissed at me, he tells me he's pissed at me and he says, you need to stop doing blah, 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 or whatever. I mean, he's very vocal about it. And I'm also very vocal. I'm able to stand in my truth and say, you're being an a-hole when you're doing this or that. You have to be able to speak up for yourself. If you're not willing to speak up for yourself and stand up for yourself in your relationship, nobody else is going to do it for you. So your relationship is not going to be successful if you don't stand up for yourself. You need to, how do you want to say, not vindicate for yourself, which of course is a good thing as well. What is advocate? You have to advocate for yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your sister or your mom and you can use these same techniques with anyone in your family. So, let's say you're not getting along with your grandma. You can go to your grandma and say, I really love you, grandma, but this relationship isn't working. Here's what I need to have a happy relationship with you. I need you to not be criticizing me every time I walk in the door. I need you to not try to stuff food down my throat every time I walk in the door. Whatever it is about grandma that bothers you. And then you say, grandma, I love you and I want to be here for you. So what can I do to better be here for you and show up for you as a devoted relative, whatever. So this is a two-way street. It's not all about only your needs are getting met. You also have to consider the other person. And this also goes with your friends. I've had girlfriends where I had to go to the friend and say, this friendship isn't working. I mean, you never include me in your blah, blah, blah. I have a friend that I stopped speaking to because she had these three other friends, and they would get together and I knew the three other friends, and they would always get together and have their little girlfriends, events. Like every week of the year, they would do all kinds of stuff together. Never once did they ever invite me. They never wanted to include me. And it was, one of these things. And then she was constantly posting, flaunting all of her little things with all these friends. And she claimed I was one of her best friends, but she didn't act like I was one of her best friends. She didn't include me in anything. So I stopped talking to her after a while. Just, her daughter got married, and I'd known her daughter since she was a baby, like about four, met her when her daughter was like 4 years old, and didn't get invited to the wedding, and they had a pretty decent sized wedding, so there was no excuse. But just a lot of things like that. And then going to lunches with her, she would talk about herself the entire time and not shut up and not let me get a word in edgewise. And she wouldn't let me get in a word edgewise, and never asked, didn't really ask about me or want to know about me. It was really all about always bragging about all of her exploits and her kids' exploits, and on and on and on and on and on. I had the same thing happen with a family member who I don't speak to anymore either, where all they did is brag about all of their wonderful life and how amazing their life is, and their children, and on and on and on and on, and never once ever asked or cared about me. So those are the kind of people you need to cut out of your life. If they act like they don't care about you and they're not putting effort in, it should be a 50-50, really 100-100. Each person should be giving 100% to that relationship. If they're not giving 100% to the relationship, then you need to get out of that relationship. And part of going to 5D, unfortunately, is getting rid of all of the people in your life that are energy vampires, narcissists, nasty, mean, hateful, backstabbers, low life punks, whatever. Users are using you, they're parasiting off of you. You need to get all those people out of your life. And there's some of you who've written to me and said, I'm all alone in the world now because all my friends dumped me because I voted for so and so, or all my friends dumped me because I wouldn't take the pokey pokey, or my whole family abandoned me and they won't let me see my grandkids because I wouldn't take a hokey pokey. I mean, those people never loved you to begin with, because real family love, like real love, you wouldn't go and disown your family because they're not willing to take some sort of medical treatment, which is not a medical treatment. It's really a death shot, a killer shot. So if people are kicking you out of their life because of that, they're not worth your love, they're not worth your time, and they're not worth your attention. If they're kicking you out of their family or out of their life because of political, you didn't vote the way they did, or you made a medical choice for your own body that they don't like, they don't agree with, because that's none of their cotton picking business, as my dad would say. It's a cotton picking. None of their cotton picking business. He spent a lot of time during when he was in the military in World War II down in the deep South, and so they use terms like cotton picking quite a bit. Um, but anyways, it isn't their business what you do. And if they disown you as a friend, because of who you're voted for, or anything like that, or your religion, like, oh, I'm not going to speak to you because you're this religion, or you're spiritual and you don't go to church, you're not a Christian, so I can't talk to you. I mean, we had neighbors like that years ago, wouldn't let my kids play with their kids because we didn't go to their church. And I was like, excuse me, we're Christians. We go to church every week, like every week at the time. That was back when I was going to church every week, and sometimes several times a week, because I was a teacher. I was teaching the kids at the church, actually. So I was there like 3 days a week, plus singing with the choir. So I was there 3-4 days a week at the church. And then here's this neighbor who's a so-called Christian telling me my kids can't play with her kids because we don't go to their specific church. You don't need those people in your life. That's insane. That's pure insanity. People who do that are very 3D. They're judgmental, they're mean, they're rude, they're narcissistic, and the biggest thing of all is they're hypocrites. Because in the Bible it says, judge ye not, lest ye be judged. So they're basically going against all of Yeshua's teachings. They're not following any of his laws or any of his rules or teachings. So that is a little about how am I on the right track with my relationships. Now, career. When you're in 5D, you're not going to be doing a job just to pay, how the matrix works is you get railroaded into some stupid job that you're unhappy and miserable at until you die or until you retire. And by the time you retire, you have little to no years left to even enjoy your life at that point before you bite it. And that's all the matrix. And you get underpaid for the work you do and underappreciated and yada, yada, yada. The fit density is not going to be like that. Everybody's going to be doing careers and jobs and businesses that make themselves feel good inside and out, that where they're of service to others and they're feeling good and they're getting paid, they're getting paid what they're worth, they're getting financially compensated the way they should, and they're happy and they're feeling accomplished. So are you on right track with your career? Well, if you're feeling accomplished and you're happy with your job, you're glad to go to work every day, you like what you do, and it makes you feel good about yourself, then yeah, you're on track. If you don't have that, if you hate your job, you don't like it, you could be super successful and hate your job. Okay, years ago, I was membership director of a huge chamber of commerce, and I was in charge of four or five cities actually in my area. And I was uber successful. I was like really, really successful. And when I was doing that, I was really burnt out and stressed out. It was a really stressful job, and I was really freaking kick-ass at it. I did a really good job. Okay. I built that Chamber of Commerce from like 20 members or something up to like 2,000 members in a 2-3 year period. I did that myself. And I was yeah, I was like so successful that when I quit that job, I had to quit the job because I got pregnant with my son. And when I was about due to have him, like, right, I worked up until I was almost ready to give labor. I had to quit because I had an agreement with my husband that when I had our first child, that I was going to stay home and raise the kids for a while until they were old enough for me to go back to work again. And so I had to quit for that reason. But in a way, I was kind of glad that I quit, because even though I was super successful at what I did and I was actually making pretty decent money, I was actually making the most money I'd made in any job up until that point of my life. So I was getting paid well. The benefits were incredible. I knew everybody in the community. I knew the state governor. I knew all the politicians, the state representatives, the state senators, the head sheriffs, the head fire marshals, the head postmaster. I mean, I knew everybody. I knew all the powerful people, the heads of the school districts. I was hanging out with these people every month, like all these people, because I was heavily involved in politics when you're working at the Chamber of Commerce and the business community. I knew all the CEOs of all the corporations. You're hanging out with high level people from Microsoft and all those types of companies like that. Those are the kind of, people I was hanging out with. So I was successful. I was paid a lot. I did well, but I didn't like what I was doing. I was unhappy. It was really stressful. It was really exhausting. I was tired all the time. Um, and I didn't love what I was doing at all. So 5D is going to be all about, you have all those successes, all those people, you're doing all that, but you totally love what you're doing. You think it's the best thing since sliced bread. You feel fulfilled, you feel acknowledged, you feel rewarded, you feel really good about yourself. And that's how you're on track with that. If it's a business that you have, obviously, if you're successful, you're on the right track if you're successful. And if it's financial, how do you know you're on the right track? How much money have you accumulated? That's a real easy answer. That's not a hard answer. Are you on the right track financially? Well, how much money do you want to have in the bank? Do you want $1 million in the bank? Well, what do you need to do to get $1 million? Do you want $100 in the bank? What do you need to do to get $100? The proof is in the pudding. What the result is tells you if you're on track. So that's a really easy one. And then I'm trying to think, what's the other one I didn't, if you're on track with your health, I mean, obviously you're going to know, because your body should be slowly healing more and more and more and more. And, or you should be totally healed by now. So if you were doing a protocol or a program or a supplement you were taking and you want to know if you're on track with it, well, how are you feeling? Are you feeling better each day? Are you healing more and more each day? Is the end result, now I'm totally healed as a result of taking this product? So then you know you're on track with your health. You know, how healthy is your body? Are you doing the right diet? Are you exercising? If you're on track, how strong are your muscles? How flexible are you? You know, if you're doing yoga every day, are you on track with your yoga? Well, how flexible are you? How strong are you? So those are really, really simple types of things. And I'm trying to think, what am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something here. So we got career, relationships, spirituality. I think I pretty much covered it all. If there's anything you think I missed, please drop it in the comments and I'll try to address it next time, or I'll address you in the comments if I can, if I have the time. Um, but that's about it. So I hope this information was helpful for you. And just to remind you, we still have a few openings for our women's retreat in June in Rhode Island. So if you want to come join me in person and learn from me for 3.5 days, and two other amazing spiritual teachers and healers. And you're going to also receive healing because we do actual healing work in these women's retreats. You will go home refreshed, recharged, rejuvenated, healed. And the best part of it is you will make wonderful new friends that are just like you. Sisters, you'll have new sisters and you get to hang out with me. The link is in the description to sign up. Well, to go to the website for the retreat to see where it is, when it is, how much it is, what we're doing at the retreat, all of that. We are charging, it's a 3.5 day long retreat. We're charging only $1,555. And a lot of you might go, oh my God, that's so much money. It actually isn't. Every one of my friends who's a coach or a teacher or healer that does a retreat charges a minimum of usually 2,500 to anywhere up to like $10,000 for just a 3-day retreat. I have actually several friends who get $10,000 for 3-day retreats, and it doesn't include your accommodations or your food or anything. It's just the instruction, spending time with them. They charge that much. There's one guy I know who charges 30 grand for his weekend retreats. Actually, I know two men who do that. They get 30 grand for a retreat. So compared to that, $1,500 is actually not that much, because if you were to spend 3.5 days with me in private, you would pay me $30,000 because per hour, because we're talking several hours of classes. We're talking like 8 hours, 3 days. What is that? 24, 25, yeah, like 28 hours of classes times my hourly fee. I mean, you're looking at several thousands of dollars if you did that many hours with me in private sessions of training you on different healing modalities and things. But you're going to get all of those hours with me for a smidgen. So it's a really good value. So please check it out. It's in the description, and like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate all of you. I love all of you. And my big Thanksgiving gratitude is I'm grateful for all of you. I love you all. And if you are in the US, I wish you happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. And the next video I will be doing is with Miss Gila Jed. I've had her on the show before. She's in New York. She's an amazing patriot, spiritual woman, just an incredible, beautiful human being inside and out. So we're going to be talking about some really important things to help you all out on your spiritual journey, and we'll see you next week.